of your advisor when you're ABD? That's what we're talking about right now. Hey everybody, I'm Leigh Hall from teachingacademia.com, and I'm all about giving you the tools you need to navigate academia and make your best impact. Today we're talking about the role of your advisor when you're ABD, all but dissertation. I'm going to give you 4 tips that you can use to think about what this relationship should or could look like. And these are in no particular order. So first up, think about what your needs and expectations are in terms of your relationship with your advisor. And you want to really think that through so that you can have a conversation with your advisor about here's where I think I'm going to need your help. Here's how often I might want to meet with you. You know, are you the kind of student that you want a monthly check-in? Do you just kind of want as needed? So just think that through so you can communicate it with your advisor and have a conversation about that. And your advisor may even have some suggestions for you of things you haven't thought about that you're going to want to work into those needs and expectations. Number 2, ask your advisor how they typically work with students during this phase. So in this phase, you are starting to separate from your advisor, become more independent from your advisor, right? Lean on your advisor a little bit less because pretty soon you're going to be graduating and you're going to, need to be able to stand on your own without your advisor's help. Your advisor may have very particular ways that they work with students during this phase. I know I do, and I communicate those. I always have a conversation with my students when they reach this phase about how I work with them. I do want to hear their needs and expectations, but I'm also going to tell them what I expect in my approach. So make sure you have that conversation with your advisor to find out if they have anything in particular in mind. Number 3, your advisor, this is really thinking about how your advisor works with you when you're writing up your dissertation, okay? So during this, for number 3, your advisor is going to be available for reading drafts. They're going to be available for helping you when you get stuck, okay? But your interactions, as I've been saying, are going to be pretty scaled back. So you don't want to be, let's say, writing off chapter 1 of your dissertation and sending over kind of a junky draft, right? You want to get that up to the point where you know that it needs help, but you don't know what it needs, okay? So when you've edited something enough to the point that you're like, I know this isn't good enough, I know it's not done, but I don't know what it is I need to do to get it done, that's where your advisor can step in, okay? That's a really good time. Or if you have a specific question and, your advisor is the person that makes sense to ask that to, right? You're stuck, you're confused, okay? That's also a good time to go to your advisor during that writing phase. What you don't want to do, and this is point 4, is you don't want to just be sending things out willy-nilly to your committee, okay? You let your advisor direct you to your committee as appropriate. So ideally, each committee member has a specific role that they're going to fulfill. You might have a methodologist on your committee. You might have somebody that's really got strong background knowledge in a particular area of your field, whatever, right? They're all there for a specific reason. You might think, hey, if I have a methodology question, I don't need to ask my advisor about this. I should ask that person that's the methodologist on my committee. That might be the case, and your advisor might completely agree with you on that. But before you do that, before you go running off and asking committee members for help and feedback, have that conversation with your advisor first, because what can happen is if your advisor doesn't know that you're doing that, you can go to 1 or 2 people and they can give you feedback, and maybe it makes sense to you. Maybe when you sit down to utilize it, it's confusing, and maybe people are giving you conflicting feedback. You can end up getting pulled unintentionally. Nobody's trying to do this to you on purpose, but you can end up getting pulled in a million different directions, and it can make the situation more confusing. So the strategy that I recommend is you're stuck, you have a problem. Let's say it's something with you're doing your analysis. Let's say you're doing a statistical data analysis, and you really need to talk to the methodologist on your committee. Run that by your advisor first. Your advisor says, okay, yes, absolutely. Go talk to that person. Talk to them about this thing. Go have that conversation with that committee member. When you're done, follow up with your advisor and say, here's the feedback that I was given. Talk through it with your advisor, because your advisor is going to look at it and your advisor might say, this is excellent. Go do that. Because your advisor has the bigger picture of your study and knows you, has been working with you for a long time, right? Your advisor might look at that and say, of this feedback, I would do maybe half of it and the other half isn't really as relevant as that committee member might think. So if you're doing part of the feedback, but not the other part, and the committee member says, why didn't you put all my feedback in there? That's where your advisor can jump in, and your advisor can say, because I told them not to, right? I told them to do it this way, and this is why, and that's why you see it the way that it is. So your advisor knows what's going on, and if necessary, has your back on particular situations.